A movie about a bear that does coke is about to make millions of dollars. I got an idea. Get on to it. My lady told me to throw away this expired bag of flour months ago. I knew it was gonna come in handy. And it did. So Coke Bear, or as I like to call him, White Powdered Sugar Bear, follows the true story of a bear in the woods back in 1985 that stumbled upon some magic white powder, took as many big sniffs as it could, causing it to overdose, collapse, and die. People found it, they stuffed it, leave it out there for people to pay money to see it. But once Hollywood got a hold of this story, they slapped a true story tag on the poster and exaggerated the events where they imagine, what if this bear actually went on a killing rampage before it died? And that's all pretty much. If I give any spoilers to you guys, this will be a spoiler-free review. Now, come on, we're talking about a movie called Coke Bear. What are you expecting? I know when I first heard about this movie coming up and that they were going to try and make it about the bear rampaging, killing people, I was like, you know what? Go ahead, do that. That sounds like a fun time. Then the trailer came out, and even though I found it super entertaining, there were some people disappointed with the direction. They wanted them to go a real serious route. Treat the bear like this crazy monster. Give us a straight up horror movie with maybe some comedy in there. And while maybe that could have been interesting or kind of cool to see, the direction they went in now, the horror comedy route of just going full ridiculous with its premise, works so well for me. I was not expecting much going into White Powdered Sugar Bear. I really just wanted it to entertain me, have me laughing a couple times, maybe see some cool kills here and there, but that's about it. I just thought, it's a good little time waster. And I turned out having way more fun than I thought I was going to with this movie. Props to Elizabeth Banks here, the director of this movie, because she nails down the humor in here, or at least has a form of humor that really appeals to me. We are set again in the 80s, and they do a good job when they can to show off this 80s aesthetic, from the soundtrack to the clothing the people are wearing, and even having a lot of these characters carry on a southern accent that just feels kind of comforting and warming to hear on screen. She managed to find a great balance of having ridiculous, dumb characters without going too far into that route of just watching stupid people do stupid things and go, this movie's so stupid. Because what ends up happening is, yes, you will end up saying that phrase as you're watching this, oh my god, that's so stupid, but you're also enjoying that level of stupidness they're presenting to you in a fun way, because the movie's in on the joke too. I'll tell you right now, Coke Bear is filled with so many characters. That might be one of the downfalls of the movie, or the things that might get people a little There are like 4 to 5 different storylines all happening at once that interconnect with this Coke Bear that is just running around the woods. And when you have a situation like that, where you're cutting back and forth to different people's storylines, different things that are going on, you're bound to have a storyline here and there that's more interesting than the other. To me, I didn't really find a storyline I was like dreading to go back to, where I was like, oh, we're following these people now. No, go back to the other storyline. I found them all equally entertaining. A lot of standouts for me. I was surprised with the amount of lovable characters in here. Isaiah Whitlock here as a cop who's investigating why this coke is in the woods, while at the same time he's dealing with the fact that he has a brand new dog at home. You have a park ranger that has a crush on an inspector and is just desperately trying to get laid. But surprisingly, my favorite pairing here happens early on in the movie, and it deals with 2 little kids, played by Brooklyn Prince and Christian Convery. In Hollywood, I think it's hard to find like 2 little kid actors that are just passable on screen. It's even harder to find 2 little kids that are funny and have great chemistry with each other. The little friendship these 2 kids have, and the curiosity that spikes in them when they find a brick of white powder, it resulted to just so many hilarious jokes on screen. I even really appreciated the way they kind of handled the bear in here, because it could have so easily have been a situation where the bear is the bad guy. You know, it's this creature, it starts sniffing this stuff and it starts killing people pretty gruesomely. We're gonna get to that. But since the movie is all over the place with all its characters and all its storylines, there's an argument to be made here that the bear can be considered the main character of the movie, and you kind of build this lovable attachment to it as you see it go from powder to powder. And I thought that was kind of an ingenious way to pull it off. Still, when we get to the thing that just made my audience get fully into this movie, laughing, clapping, for the first quarter of the movie, I was getting worried, thinking, oh man, they're gonna do a lot of cutaway kills, you know, things where the bear shows up, takes them off screen, and then you just hear their agonizing pain. Ah! And that was kind of bumming me out. But then somewhere towards the middle of the movie, all bets are off, and you start seeing this bear get really gruesome with its kills. Granted, a lot of it is like CGI and digital effects. I don't think there was a lot of practical stuff in here. There is some, but the gory deaths are treated in such a fun, exhilarating manner, you can't help but to laugh and clap at them. Like when you watch the movie, my favorite one had to be the entire sequence involving the ambulance drivers. You see a little bit of it in the trailers where the bear's just chasing after that thing. The sequence that ensues had my audience dying. I really wasn't expecting to come out of Coke Bear this happy and entertained. I thought it was just going to be a dumb fun time, but it kind of exceeded that for me. Now, if I want to look at the flip side and be fair, because it's not a perfect movie, it is just there to entertain and have a good time, which makes me feel a little unnecessary to nitpick it, but there are going to be people who want to nitpick. So one, the CGI. Like I was mentioning, at times the bear looks great, it looks really good, and then other times it looks a little wonky, and then you mix it in with some of the CGI blood or limbs flying out. It can be a slight annoyance. I'll fully agree also that sometimes the bear isn't on screen as much as it should. Maybe again, going back to that CGI issue, but you'll go through long stretches of the movie where they tease the bear's about to attack somebody, and then you won't see that character again for another like 20 minutes, and that includes the bear also. So there are slight slumps in the entertainment while they build you up for the next gory kill. Also, while I really like Ray Liotta in here, rest in peace, towards the third act, the movie starts focusing a lot on his specific story, and it just wasn't that interesting. By that point, you had already seen so many great, gnarly, entertaining things that the Coke Bear could do. You're kind of not that interested in this mobster drug dealing storyline. But again, like I was mentioning, those are just like small nitpicks, stuff if you want to be a real grump about it. I highly doubt anybody going in to see Coke Bear is gonna walk out frowning or upset. You're gonna walk out smiling and going, that was a really fun time. Elizabeth Banks and other creative people on this movie have already joked about a sequel and this cinematic universe they could do with all these different animals, because they recently found Coke in the ocean, letting them pull off the Hollywood exaggerated true story tag again with Coke Shark. And if they are all as entertaining in this movie, give me that cinematic universe. Marijuana monkeys, heroin hippos, I will watch it all. So for White Powdered Sugar Bear, I'm gonna give action 3.5 stars. You do get your fair amount of the bear attacking, chasing people, scratching them up, but because of all the different characters and storylines happening, there are long gaps in between all that. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 4 stars, man. The brand of humor in here was on point for me. I was laughing at almost every single joke and situation. Comedy can be very subjective, but for me, this was just nailing the head almost every time. Drama in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I was not expecting to go this high for Coke Bear. I thought they were just gonna give us some lazy characters, just people that were obviously gonna be chewed up by Coke Bear, but there's more than enough lovable characters and interesting stories in here that I was just entertained without all the Coke mayhem. Horror in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2 stars. Now, while there's no nudity or anything really sexually explicit in this movie, they do show off a lot of gore. They do show off a lot of limbs flying at you. So if you want to be one of those cool parents that takes your kid to this, or an older sibling that wants to do that for your little brother, just be wary, it's a little gore heavy. And suspense in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. You're just kind of having a good fun time in here. Some characters in here you obviously know are about to be chewed up by a bear, but there was a few times in here where there was a character I was really enjoying and I got really sad whenever they got bit off screen. Casual fans, I'm gonna give this a B+. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it an A-, and critically, I'm going to give it a B+. For White Powdered Sugar Bear, you know what? This is the most entertained I was all of 2023, and for that reason alone, it's worth adding to your collection at home.
That's a keeper. Yes.
Like I said, I was just expecting a dumb fun time, and it delivered more than that for me. I even saw they were going to make a Coke Bear Funko Pop. I was going to get it anyways, but now I can't wait to have that thing in my collection because I'm going to display it with honor. Let me know what you guys thought about Coke Bear if you went to see it. Are you interested in this movie? What did you think worked? What do you think didn't work? Would love to hear it all down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.